18 months after the Battle of Mars, Captain Yoon's ship returned to the solar system. The Pathfinder limped into Mars orbit with visible damage to its hull. She had been gone 11 months, 3 months longer than planned. Her crew of 93 had departed. Only 78 were returning. The survivors looked exhausted and haunted. Admiral Kang personally boarded Pathfinder to hear Captain Yoon's report. What she told him was not what anyone expected. The Vryn home system is a war zone, Yoon began. But they are not fighting us. They are fighting for survival against other aliens. Species they conquered centuries ago have rebelled and formed an alliance. The Vryn civilization is collapsing. They are losing badly. Kang tried to process this information. So the fleet that came to Earth was not conquest? It was desperation? Yes, Admiral. They were refugees looking for a new home because they are losing their own war. They approached Earth armed and ready for battle, because they assumed any intelligent species would be hostile. They were not wrong to think that. Based on their history, that is all they know. Dr. Han studied the data Yoon brought back. The Broken Chain Alliance, as the rebellion called itself, consisted of 7 species that survived Vryn conquest and eventually fought back. They were not technologically superior, but they had numbers and motivation. The war had been going on for decades, and the Vryn were finally losing. This changes everything, Ambassador Song said when she heard the report. These species could be allies. We should make contact, offer technological exchange. Our kinetic weapons doctrine could help them defend themselves permanently. But Dr. Han raised concerns. If we arm the Broken Chain, are we enabling genocide? The Vryn are collapsing. They might go extinct. Do we want to be responsible for that? The question sparked intense debate. The Vryn came to destroy humanity. 23,000 humans died stopping them. Why should humanity show them mercy? But others argued that vengeance was not the same as justice. Helping exterminate an entire species, even a hostile one, was not something humanity should do. While politicians argued, sensors detected a new development. Another Vryn fleet was approaching the solar system. But this fleet was different. The ships were broadcasting communication attempts from the moment they entered detection range. Park Jin-ho received the first transmission at Vigilance Station. Using the language database captured from the first Vryn fleet, the translation came through clearly. It was a plea for help. We are refugees. We mean no harm. Please, we need sanctuary. Our civilization is dying. We have nowhere else to go. Park forwarded the transmission to Earth immediately. The Vryn were asking for asylum. The second Vryn fleet consisted of civilian vessels, not warships. Sensor readings showed approximately 400,000 Vryn refugees aboard the ships. They were fleeing the collapse of their civilization, coming to the only place they knew about that had space and resources: Earth. Admiral Kang's first instinct was to refuse. They tried to invade us. They cost us thousands of lives. Now they want our protection? No, send them away. But Ambassador Song argued differently. If we grant asylum, we get access to their complete technological database. We demonstrate moral superiority. We show the galaxy that humanity can be better than the Vryn were. And we might prevent an entire species from going extinct. Major Lee, surprisingly, agreed with Ambassador Song. She visited the memorial station for the pilots lost in the battle, standing before the wall engraved with their names. She thought about what they died defending. The right for humanity to exist, to survive, to choose their own future. They died so humanity could live, Lee said quietly. If we deny that same right to others, even our enemies, then what did they die for? Just revenge? That is not enough. That is not worthy of their sacrifice. The debate lasted weeks. Finally, the Terran Defense Coalition reached a decision. The Vryn refugees would be granted asylum, but with strict conditions. They would not be allowed on Earth, Mars, or any human-settled world. Instead, they would be given a small moon in the outer solar system. Human observers would monitor them constantly, and in exchange, the Vryn had to provide complete technological databases and assistance with human diplomatic efforts. The Vryn accepted immediately. They had no other choice. Survival was more important than pride. Captain Yoon was assigned to escort the refugee fleet to their new home. It was a bitter task for someone who fought to destroy the first Vryn fleet, but she accepted it with grace. War is over when you decide it is over. The fighting stopped. Now comes the harder part: building peace. With Vryn assistance, Ambassador Song organized humanity's first diplomatic mission to the Broken Chain Alliance. She traveled with a small fleet to neutral territory, bringing samples of human kinetic weapons technology and proposals for alliance. The Broken Chain leaders were initially hostile. They had spent decades fighting the Vryn. Why would they trust a species that gave Vryn refugees sanctuary? But when Ambassador Song demonstrated human railgun technology and explained the tactical doctrine that defeated the Vryn, attitudes changed. One species in the alliance, the Quellan, became particularly interested. They were silicon-based life forms that communicated through crystal vibrations. Their representative, translated name Harmonic of Victory, recognized something important about humanity. You defeated the Vryn with inferior technology by thinking differently, Harmonic of Victory communicated. You chose mercy for defeated enemies when revenge would be easier. You are not like other species we know. You are dangerous but not cruel. Strong but not mindless. We will work with you. The alliance between humanity and the Broken Chain was formalized. Humans provided weapons technology and tactical training. The Broken Chain provided access to their region of space, trade opportunities, and intelligence about other nearby civilizations. Humanity discovered they were not alone in an empty galaxy. They were in a dangerous neighborhood where survival required both strength and wisdom. Admiral Kang oversaw the largest military expansion in human history. The fleet grew from 200 ships to over 800 within 2 years. New weapon systems combined human kinetic doctrine with alien energy systems, creating hybrid designs that were incredibly effective. Human warships became the most feared vessels in their region of space. Dr. Han led the technological revolution, combining knowledge from multiple species into something new. Humanity's different development path, once a limitation, became an advantage. They brought fresh perspectives to problems other species had solved the same way for centuries. Park Jin-ho's Vigilant Station became the template for an early warning network throughout human space. New stations were built at strategic points, each commanded by officers trained in Park's doctrine. Vigilance, rapid response. Never underestimate any threat. Major Lee took command of the Fighter Academy, training new generations of pilots in aggressive, unpredictable tactics. Her students became known throughout the region as Lee's Demons. Other species learned to respect and fear them. 2 years after the Battle of Mars, a memorial station was built at the exact coordinates where the fighting occurred. The station served as both military outpost and memorial to the 23,000 humans who died. The central hall contained names engraved on walls made from metal salvaged from both human and Vryn ships. A reminder that war cost everyone. Commander Nam received posthumous honors as humanity's first interstellar war hero. His widow, Kim Yoonji, attended the ceremony with their daughter, Nam Sora, now 5 years old. She would grow up hearing stories of her father's sacrifice. Several Vryn refugees attended the memorial ceremony, requesting permission to honor their own dead. It was uncomfortable for many humans, but it represented the complex reality of humanity's new position. Former enemies becoming neighbors, war becoming peace, hate becoming understanding slowly. In the memorial's final scene, the main characters reflected on how everything changed. Admiral Kang looked at tactical displays showing human ships throughout the local star cluster and thought about the responsibility of power. Humanity could become conquerors. They had the strength. But that was not who they wanted to be. Captain Yoon commanded humanity's first embassy ship, using her warrior instincts for diplomacy now. She negotiated with the same intensity she once brought to combat. Ambassador Song reflected on the irony. Humanity faced extinction and built the most powerful military in their region. But they were using that power to create alliances instead of empires. Maybe humanity was the first species here to break the cycle of conquest and revenge. Dr. Han worked on next-generation technology, combining lessons from multiple species into something unique. A hybrid technological path that did not fit historical patterns, something new. Major Lee watched her students and saw the future. These pilots would never know the desperation of defending Earth from existential threat. They were growing up in a galaxy where humanity was already a power. She wondered if that made them less motivated or more dangerous. Park Jin-ho maintained his vigil from Vigilant Station. He saw the invasion first, sent the warning that saved humanity, He remained vigilant because he knew the galaxy was dangerous and survival depended on never being unprepared again. 3 days after the battle, recovery teams worked through the massive debris field around Mars. Captain Yoon coordinated the operation from the Indomitable, which was damaged but still functional. Ships collected bodies, salvaged equipment, and searched for survivors in the wreckage. They found 17 people alive in damaged vessels, trapped but breathing, small miracles in the darkness. Dr. Han arrived on a research vessel with her team. Their mission was critical. Board an alien wreck, extract technology, gather information, and hopefully find answers about who these aliens were and why they came. Admiral Kang needed to know if more were coming. The team selected a partially destroyed alien escort ship. Park Jin-ho, recovered from his injuries, joined the boarding party. He wanted to see the enemy face to face. After commanding Vigilance Station through the invasion, he felt he had earned that right. Major Lee provided fighter escort as the boarding shuttles approached the dead alien vessel. Inside the wreck, everything was dark and cold. The alien ship had lost atmosphere when the hull cracked open. Emergency lighting flickered weakly, powered by backup systems. The boarding team moved carefully through twisted corridors, their suit lights cutting through the darkness. They found the aliens in various compartments. The creatures were tall, taller than humans, with skin that looked partially like armor plating. They had 4 fingers on each hand and large eyes designed for low light conditions. They had died when the ship lost air, frozen bodies floating in zero gravity. "They are not so different from us," Park said quietly, looking at an alien who appeared to be reaching for an emergency panel when death came. "They were just people doing their jobs, following orders." Dr. Han focused on the technology. The boarding team collected samples of weapons, engines, computer systems, anything that might be useful. But as she examined the equipment, she made a surprising discovery. "This technology is advanced but not as superior as we thought," Dr. Han explained to Admiral Kang over the communication link. "Their gravity weapons are powerful but inflexible. Their shields are strong against energy attacks but have huge gaps against kinetic weapons. They developed along a different path than we did, and that made them vulnerable to our approach." The real treasure was the alien computer system. Despite damage, Dr. Han's team managed to extract substantial data. Star charts, communication logs, information about the alien species, their homeworld, their history. The team worked for hours downloading everything they could. Access what they learned changed. Everything. The aliens called themselves the Vrin. Their home system was 127 light-years from Earth. They were not a vast empire, just an expeditionary fleet sent to find new territory. The Vrin had been expanding for thousands of years, conquering other intelligent species they encountered. 13 different civilizations had fallen to the Vrin over their history, but here was the crucial detail. Every species the Vrin defeated had developed similar technology. Fusion power, energy weapons, shield systems. The Vrin military was built to fight enemies that used those technologies. They had never encountered a species that weaponized simple kinetic force the way humans did. "They expected us to fight like everyone else they ever met," Dr. Han explained to the command staff. "We did not. That is why we won." Back on Earth, politicians debated what to do next. Some wanted to build a massive military fleet and attack the Vrin homeworld, eliminate the threat permanently. Others argued for focusing on defense, fortifying the solar system against future attacks. The arguments grew heated. A new voice emerged in the debate. Ambassador Song Ji-young was 51 years old, a career diplomat with decades of experience in difficult negotiations. She proposed a different approach. "We should use the captured technology to develop faster communication and reach out to other species the Vrin conquered," Song argued. "Build alliances. We do not have to face future threats alone." Captain Yoon was called back to Earth to testify before the Coalition Council about the battle tactics. She described the fighting in detail, explaining how aggressive maneuvers and kinetic weapons won the day. The military leadership praised her decisions. Some politicians worried humanity was becoming too focused on war. "We are focused on survival," Yoon responded firmly. "The Vrin came to destroy us. We stopped them. If that makes us warriors, then I am proud to be one." While debates raged on Earth, Major Lee struggled with different problems. She had lost 72 pilots during the battle, young men and women who trusted her leadership and followed her into death. She visited their families one by one, telling them their children died as heroes, but the words felt hollow. They were still dead. She met Commander Nam's widow, Kim Eunji. The woman was quiet, composed, holding her 3-year-old daughter. "Thank you for coming, Major Lee. My husband talked about you often. He said you were the bravest pilot he ever knew." Lee felt tears coming. He was the brave one. His sacrifice saved thousands of lives. "He saved all of us," Kim Eunji nodded slowly. "I know, and I am proud of him. But my daughter will grow up without a father. That is the price of victory, is it not? We won, but we lost so much." Park Jin-ho returned to Command Vigilance Station, now repaired and upgraded. The station was positioned as a permanent early warning post in the outer solar system. Park's job was simple. Watch for threats. Never be surprised again. He understood the importance. The invasion nearly succeeded because humanity was not ready. They would never make that mistake again. Choi Minji continued analyzing alien technology. She made another disturbing discovery in the data they extracted. The Vrin ships contained biological samples from other species. 7 different intelligent life forms, all now extinct or enslaved by the Vrin. The samples were labeled like scientific specimens, preserved in storage. They collected trophies from species they destroyed, Choi reported. The Vrin are not just invaders. They are exterminators. If we had lost, humans would be another sample in their collection. This discovery hardened human resolve. The battle was not just self-defense. It was survival against a predator species that saw other intelligent life as resources to exploit or eliminate. Dr. Han's team made one final, critical discovery. The Vrin had sent a message back to their home system before the battle started. The message traveled faster than light through some kind of quantum communication network. It contained detailed information about human technology, weapons, tactics, and the location of Earth. The Vrin homeworld knew about humanity now. They knew their fleet was destroyed, and they would have to decide how to respond. Admiral Kang called an emergency meeting when he learned about the message. "The Vrin know where we are. They know we destroyed their fleet. We have to assume they will send more ships, maybe a larger fleet. We cannot wait for them to come. We need to be proactive." 6 months after the Battle of Mars, Captain Yoon received new orders. She was given command of the Pathfinder, humanity's first ship equipped with reverse-engineered Vrin faster-than-light drive. Her mission was classified but clear. Travel to the Vrin home system, observe, gather intelligence, find out what threat they posed. "This is a reconnaissance mission, not an attack," Admiral Kang stressed. "We need information, not another war. But Captain, if you are threatened, defend yourself. Come home safely." Yoon accepted the mission without hesitation. "Understood, Admiral. We will find out what the Vrin are planning." Park watched Pathfinder depart from Vigilance Station sensors. The ship accelerated, then disappeared in a flash as the FTL drive activated. Humans were now traveling between stars. Everything had changed in 6 months. Admiral Kang stood in his command center, looking at star charts showing the Vrin home system. Humanity had won one battle, but the real test was coming. The Vrin might send a massive retaliation fleet, or they might leave humanity alone, or they might try something completely unexpected. Whatever happened next, humanity would be ready. They proved they could fight. They proved they could win, and they would never surrender their right to exist. The alien fleet scrambled to respond to the devastating attack. Their commanders had expected an easy victory against primitive technology. Instead, they were losing ships faster than they could coordinate a defense. The rigid military discipline that made them efficient was now making them predictable and slow. Commander Nam Tae-hyung watched from Shadowrunner as the battle unfolded. He was still hidden near the alien formation, close enough to see everything. His sensors identified the command ship clearly now. It was the largest vessel, hanging back from the fighting while coordinating the fleet's response. Every alien ship received its orders from that central command vessel. Nam made a decision that would cost him his life, but save thousands of others. He plotted a course directly toward the command ship. Shadowrunner was not a warship. It had minimal weapons, thin armor, and was never designed for combat. But it had one advantage: a full fuel tank and a reactor that could be overloaded. He sent a final message to Captain Yoon. "I see their command ship. I am going to take it out. Tell my wife I love her. Nam out." Yoon received the message and immediately understood what Nam was planning. "Commander, wait. We can find another way." But Nam had already cut communications. He was committed. Park Jin-ho saw what Nam was attempting from Vigilance Station. He realized the commander would need covering fire to get close enough. All weapons target the alien ships near their command vessel. Draw their attention away from Shadowrunner. Vigilance's railguns opened fire again, damaged but still functional. The aliens turned some of their defensive systems toward the incoming rounds, creating the distraction Nam needed. The alien fleet finally organized their response to the main human attack. Their gravity wave weapons fired in coordinated salvos, targeting the human capital ships. The TDS Resolute took a direct hit. The weapon tore the ship completely in half. 847 crew members died instantly. 3 more human ships exploded under the devastating alien fire. But for every human ship destroyed, 2 more alien vessels died. Captain Yoon kept the pressure on, ordering continuous railgun fire. The Indomitable's main batteries never stopped shooting. Tungsten rounds hammered the alien formation without mercy. Major Lee rallied her surviving fighters for a second attack run. She had lost 72 pilots in the first attack, but 228 fighters remained operational. They needed to keep the aliens off balance, keep them from focusing their full firepower on the capital ships. All wings form up on me. We hit them again. Focus on ships closest to their command vessel. Create chaos. The fighters dove back into the battle, weaving through the crossfire between capital ships. Missile after missile launched from their racks. Small laser cannons fired at alien point defense systems, trying to disable them. The fighters were gnats attacking elephants, but gnats that carried nuclear stingers. Commander Nam pushed Shadowrunner to maximum speed. He was 300 kilometers from the alien command ship now. 200. 100. The aliens finally detected his small vessel racing toward them. Every weapon on nearby ships turned toward Shadowrunner. Laser fire cut through space. One beam clipped Shadowrunner's engine, causing immediate failure. The ship began tumbling, losing control. But Nam did not need control anymore. He just needed momentum. Physics would carry him the rest of the way. 50 kilometers. The aliens hit Shadowrunner again and again. The hull cracked open. Life support failed. But the reactor was still intact, still building toward overload. Nam strapped himself into his command chair and thought about his wife, Kim Yoonji, and the life they would not get to live together. For Earth, he whispered, for all of us. At 800 meters from the alien command ship, Shadowrunner's reactor exploded with the force of 500 nuclear bombs. The blast was enormous, lighting up the entire battlefield. The alien command ship's shields absorbed most of the explosion, but not all. Critical systems failed across their vessel. Armor cracked. Power fluctuated. More importantly, their command and control systems went offline for 17 precious seconds. 17 seconds where the alien fleet lost all coordination. 17 seconds of chaos now. Admiral Kang ordered from the Lunar Command Center. All ships concentrate fire on that command vessel. Kill it now while they are blind. 200 human ships turned their weapons toward one target. Over 8,000 tungsten rounds converged on the alien command ship in a storm of metal, moving at relativistic speeds. The command ship's shields tried to regenerate but failed. The rounds punched through armor, through hull, through everything. Internal explosions rippled across the massive vessel. Then it simply came apart, breaking into pieces that tumbled through space. The alien fleet's coordination completely collapsed. Individual ships tried to maintain formation, but without central command, they were fighting independently. Some tried to retreat, others pressed the attack. None of them were working together anymore. Captain Yoon saw the opening and pressed the advantage. All ships close-range attack. Do not give them time to recover. The Indomitable led the charge, moving directly into the alien formation with guns blazing. Other human ships followed, turning the battle into a brutal close-quarters fight. At these ranges, accuracy did not matter. Everything hit something. Ships on both sides died in the crossfire, but the humans had numbers and momentum. Park Jin-ho continued providing targeting data from Vigilance Station. His crew had been at battle stations for hours, exhausted but determined. Choi Minji identified weak points in alien formations and transmitted them to the fleet. Every piece of information helped. The battle raged for 6 brutal hours. Alien ships died one by one. Their superior technology could not overcome poor tactics and loss of command structure. The gravity wave weapons were devastating when they hit, but slow to recharge. Human railguns fired continuously, wearing down shields and armor through sheer volume of fire. Major Lee's fighter wing hunted down damaged alien ships, finishing them with missile strikes. Her pilots flew with fury and precision, avenging their fallen comrades. Every alien ship that died was justice for the friends they had lost. Finally, only 5 alien escort vessels remained. They broke formation and tried to flee back toward the outer solar system. Admiral Kang ordered pursuit, but it was unnecessary. Major Lee's fighters ran them down within hours. The last alien ship exploded just past Mars' orbit, its debris adding to the massive wreckage field that now surrounded the planet. The Battle of Mars was over. Humanity had won, but the cost was visible everywhere. 41 human ships destroyed, over 23,000 personnel dead. Heroes like Commander Nam would never see their homes again. Captain Yoon looked at the tactical display showing the aftermath. Debris from both fleets stretched across millions of kilometers. She thought about Nam's sacrifice, about all the people who died defending Earth. They won. But victory felt heavy. Park Jin-ho slumped in his command chair, exhausted beyond words. Vigilance Station had survived again, barely. 19 of his crew had died when the aliens nearly destroyed the station in that first attack. He would remember their names forever. Admiral Kang stood silently in the Lunar Command Center, watching reports come in from across the battlefield. Rescue operations were underway. Damaged ships limped toward Mars for repairs. Medical teams worked frantically to save the wounded. The victory was complete, but the price was high. "We stopped them," Kang said quietly to his staff. "We actually stopped them. But who were they? Where did they come from? And will more follow?" Nobody had answers, but everyone knew the questions mattered. Humanity had won one battle, but the war might just be beginning. Admiral Kang watched the battle report from Vigilance Station with intense focus. Park's message was clear. The aliens could be hurt. Their shields failed against simple kinetic weapons. This was the weakness humanity needed. He immediately called his senior officers together at the Lunar Command Center. "We are not going to sit here and wait for them to reach Earth," Kang announced. "We take the fight to them. Every ship we have converges on Mars' orbit. We end this invasion before they get anywhere near our home." Captain Yoon received her orders aboard the Indomitable. She was to lead the main battle group, 47 capital ships armed with the most powerful railguns humanity had ever built. Her orders were simple. Get to Mars, wait for the aliens, destroy them. But Yoon wanted more information first. She needed to know exactly what they were fighting. She called Commander Nam Tae-hyung, captain of the stealth ship Shadow Runner. Nam was 38, quiet and incredibly skilled at getting close to things without being detected. "Nam, I need you to do something dangerous," Yoon said. "Get close to that alien fleet. Close enough to see how they operate, how they coordinate, what their weaknesses are." Nam did not hesitate. "On my way, Captain." While Shadowrunner moved silently toward the alien fleet, Dr. Han Soo-hyun worked frantically on the moon. She was the lead weapons researcher, and Admiral Kang had given her an urgent task. The railguns worked against alien shields, but they needed something more, something that could penetrate shields and cause massive damage. Dr. Han came up with the spike missile. It was a nuclear warhead wrapped in a thick shell of depleted uranium. The shell would punch through shields using pure kinetic force, carrying the nuclear bomb directly into contact with the alien hull. Then it would explode. Simple, brutal, effective. "How many can we build?" Admiral Kang asked. "We have enough materials for about 6,000 missiles. They will be ready in 12 days. "Make it 10 days, Kang ordered. "We do not have 12. On Mars, Major Lee Ji-won prepared her fighter wing for combat. She was 31 years old and the best pilot in the Defense Force. Her squadron consisted of 300 small, fast fighters. Against massive alien capital ships, fighters seemed useless. But Lee had a plan. "We are not going to fight fair," she told her pilots. "We are going to be fast, unpredictable, and aggressive. Those alien ships are big and powerful. But big ships are slow. They cannot turn quickly. We can. We are going to hit them hard, launch our missiles, and get out before they know what happened." Her pilots trusted her completely. They would follow her into hell if she asked. In 12 days, she might be asking exactly that. Commander Nam's Shadowrunner reached the alien fleet on day 15. He kept his ship completely silent, engines at minimum power floating through space like a piece of debris. His sensors recorded everything. Ship formations, communication patterns, weapon placements, every detail that might help humanity win. What Nam discovered was crucial. The alien fleet operated with rigid discipline. Every ship followed precise instructions from a central command vessel. That ship was larger than the others and stayed in the middle of the formation, protected by escorts. It was the brain of the entire fleet. If that ship died, the rest would lose coordination. Nam sent his findings back to Admiral Kang, using a tight beam laser transmission that the aliens would not detect. Then he kept watching, gathering more intelligence, staying in position despite the danger. The human fleet gathered near Mars over the next 2 weeks. 247 warships, from massive battleships to small frigates. Thousands of fighters launched from carrier ships. Weapon systems were tested and retested. Crews drilled constantly, preparing for the battle that would decide humanity's fate. Park Jin-ho kept Vigilant Station in position, monitoring the alien approach. His station was damaged but still functional. Choi Minji had managed to repair most of the critical systems. They continued sending updates to the fleet, tracking every movement of the alien ships. On day 23, the aliens entered Mars' orbit zone. They detected the human fleet waiting for them and paused. Their sensors showed hundreds of human ships in defensive formation. The alien commander made a decision. These humans were defending desperately. One strong attack would break them. The alien fleet resumed course, weapons ready. Admiral Kang watched them come. He stood in the command center, surrounded by tactical displays and communication officers. Everything humanity had built, all their hopes and dreams, depended on the next few hours. He thought about his family on Earth, his children, his grandchildren. They were counting on him. Everyone was. All ships prepare for combat, Kang ordered calmly. Remember your training. Trust your weapons. We are not defending today. We are attacking. Show them what happens when you threaten humanity. Captain Yoon stood on the bridge of Indomitable, her crew at battle stations around her. She felt the familiar rush of adrenaline before combat. This was what she was born to do. Fight, win, protect her people. The aliens wanted Earth. They would have to go through her first. Major Lee Ji-won sat in her fighter cockpit, hands steady on the controls. Behind her, 299 other fighters waited for the signal. Her missile racks were loaded with the new Spike missiles. Each fighter carried 18 of them. Over 5,000 missiles total. Enough to hurt the alien fleet badly. All wings, this is Major Lee, she said over the combat channel. Remember, we fly unpredictable. Random movements. They cannot shoot what they cannot predict. Stay alive. Kill the enemy. For Earth. For humanity. The alien fleet came within weapons range. Their massive ships moved in perfect formation, confident and unstoppable. They began charging their gravity wave weapons, preparing to destroy the human fleet. Admiral Kang waited until exactly the right moment. He watched the tactical display, calculating distances and timing. Then he gave the order that would start the largest space battle in human history. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. Fighters, launch now. Major Lee's fighter wing exploded forward at maximum acceleration. 300 small craft racing towards 17 massive alien vessels. The aliens saw them coming and fired their gravity weapons. Precise targeting calculations locking onto the human fighters. But the fighters did not fly in straight lines. They jinked left, right, up, down, spinning and rolling in patterns that made no sense. Human pilots flying on instinct and reflexes, not computer-calculated courses. The alien targeting systems could not predict chaos. Most of their shots missed. 17 fighters exploded, hit by lucky shots. 283 survived and reached launch range. All wings, fire everything, Major Lee commanded. 5,000 Spike missiles launched simultaneously. The missiles accelerated toward the alien fleet, their uranium shells glinting in the light from the distant sun. The aliens activated their point defense systems, lasers and small guns shooting down incoming missiles. They destroyed 73% of them. 1,350 missiles got through. The uranium shells punched through the alien shields. Nuclear warheads detonated directly against alien hulls. Explosions lit up space like new stars. 3 alien escort ships were destroyed completely. 2 more tumbled away, crippled and dying. The rest of the fleet's shields flickered and failed. Now, Captain Yoon said quietly, all ships full salvo. Fire! Indomitable and 47 other human capital ships opened fire together. Their railguns launched 500-kilogram tungsten slugs at 12% light speed, over 8,000 rounds in the first salvo. The alien fleet tried to maneuver, but their big ships were too slow. The tungsten rounds hit like hammers from God. Alien armor vaporized. Hulls cracked open. 3 more alien ships exploded in seconds. The battle had barely started and humanity had already killed 8 alien vessels. The aliens finally understood. These were not weak primitives. These were killers. Park Jin-ho stared at the screen in disbelief. The numbers made no sense. Something massive was moving through space near Jupiter, and whatever it was, it definitely was not natural. He had been commanding the Vigilant space station for 6 years, watching the emptiness between planets, and he had never seen anything like this before. He called over Choi Minji, his science officer. She was young, only 34, but brilliant. Her fingers moved quickly across the controls as she checked the readings again and again. After 10 minutes of silence, she looked up at Park with wide eyes. "Commander, these are ships. Alien ships. 17 of them, each one over 3 kilometers long." Park felt his stomach drop. Humanity had always wondered if aliens existed. Now they had their answer, and it was not the peaceful greeting everyone had hoped for. The ships were slowing down as they entered the solar system, heading directly toward Earth and Mars. They were not trying to hide. They were not sending messages. They were just coming. "Send everything to Earth immediately," Park ordered. "Admiral Kang needs to see this right now." On the moon, Admiral Kang Dae-hyun received the report in his command center. He was 56 years old with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent 30 years in the military, preparing for wars between human colonies, pirate attacks, and resource conflicts. He had trained for every possible threat. Except this one. Nobody had really believed aliens would come. Not in his lifetime. He studied the data carefully. The alien ships were decelerating at speeds that should be impossible. Their technology was clearly far ahead of anything humans had built. If they wanted to destroy Earth, humanity might not be able to stop them. "Get me Captain Yoon," Kang said quietly. Captain Yoon Hyeju was on her ship, the Indomitable, when the call came. She was 39 years old and had a reputation for aggressive tactics and refusing to follow the rules when lives were at stake. Some admirals did not like her. Admiral Kang respected her. "Captain, we have a situation," Kang explained. "Alien ships approaching fast. I need the Indomitable ready for combat within 12 hours. Yoon did not waste time asking questions. "Understood, Admiral. We will be ready." Back on Vigilant Station, Park continued monitoring the alien fleet. They were still weeks away from Mars, but getting closer every day. He tried sending radio messages, laser communications, even basic mathematical sequences. Anything to start a conversation. The aliens never responded. They just kept coming. Choi Minji made a disturbing discovery on the 8th day. She had been studying the energy signatures from the alien ships, trying to understand their propulsion systems. What she found terrified her. "Commander, they are using antimatter engines. The efficiency levels are incredible. We have never even built anything close to this. If their weapons are as advanced as their engines..." She did not need to finish the sentence. Park understood. If the aliens had weapons that matched their technology, Earth did not stand a chance in a fair fight. He sent another report to Admiral Kang, knowing it would not be good news. On Earth, governments argued about what to do. Some wanted to keep trying to communicate. Others wanted to evacuate Mars colonies immediately. A few optimists still believed the aliens might be peaceful explorers who just had bad manners. Admiral Kang did not believe in optimism when it came to military threats. He ordered every warship in the solar system to return to defensive positions. He started moving supplies and weapons to Mars orbit. He prepared for war, hoping he was wrong, but knowing he was probably right. The Terran Defense Fleet had 247 warships. They were good ships built for fighting other humans. They had railguns that fired metal slugs at incredible speeds, nuclear missiles, and laser defense systems. But compared to 17 alien ships that traveled between stars, how much good would they do? Park volunteered to keep Vigilant Station in position, even though it meant staying directly in the path of the approaching fleet. His crew of 127 people could have evacuated. None of them left. They all understood someone needed to watch the aliens and send information back to Earth. That was their job. On day 25, something changed. The alien fleet suddenly began slowing down even harder. Then thousands of smaller ships launched from the big vessels, spreading out in attack formation. Park's sensors detected energy building up across the entire alien fleet. Weapons were charging. Park knew what was coming. He had seconds to decide. He could order evacuation and try to save his crew, or he could stay at his post and gather as much information as possible about the alien attack. Information that might save millions of lives on Earth and Mars. It was not really a choice at all. All non-essential personnel to escape pods now, Park ordered. Everyone else battle stations. Bring all weapons online. Choi Minji refused to leave. My place is here, Commander. Park did not argue. He understood the aliens fired. A beam of energy, invisible but detectable on sensors, raced toward Vigilance Station at the speed of light. Park had 12 seconds warning from the sensors before impact. 12 seconds to accept that he might die in the next moment. 12 seconds to think about everything he would never do, everyone he would never see again. The weapon hit Vigilance's shields with devastating force. The entire station shook like it was tearing apart. Lights flickered. Alarms screamed. Park held onto his chair as the floor tilted. But when the shaking stopped and the emergency lights came on, he was still alive. The shields had held. Barely, but they had held. Choi Minji was already analyzing the attack. It is some kind of gravity wave weapon. I have never seen anything like it. It almost ripped us apart. But, Commander, our shield stopped it. They did not expect that. Park realized something important. The aliens had assumed their first shot would destroy Vigilance easily. They thought humans were primitive and weak. They were wrong. Return fire, Park ordered. All railguns, maximum power. Target the closest alien ships. Vigilance's weapons were simple compared to the alien gravity weapons. They just fired chunks of tungsten metal at extremely high speeds. Nothing fancy. Nothing exotic. Just physics and kinetic energy. The tungsten rounds left the railguns at 8% the speed of light. The aliens did not even try to dodge. Their shields should stop simple metal projectiles easily. Should have. But the rounds punched straight through the alien shields like they were not even there. 2 alien escort ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Park allowed himself a small smile. The aliens were more advanced, but they had never fought an enemy like humanity before. They were about to learn a hard lesson. He opened a communication channel to Earth to Admiral Kang, to everyone who needed to hear this. Vigilance Station to all commands. The aliens attacked. They hit us hard. But we are still here and we just killed 2 of their ships. This is not a peaceful encounter. Humanity is at war. But we can win this. Their technology is not invincible. We can hurt them. We can beat them. The invasion had begun, but so had humanity's response. And the aliens were about to discover that humans were far more dangerous than they ever imagined.